Hi folks, outside of aquaponics, this is a quick garden project. This is my neighbor's property, and if you look at the garden right now, it looks fairly undone. So I've got a free hand to do whatever it takes to make this garden come back to life. So there is this whole space that starts from this extreme end. There are a lot of pots here that has been placed on an existing concrete step, and we have this place below this coconut tree as well, which leads to this space that is right in front of the house, and that this is going to be the feature area. So I'm going to create certain pots with different heights and create an interesting center point focus element over here. So that's how this build is going to be. To start with, I'm going to be removing all these pots, clear out this space so I get a very clean space to start working with. All of these pots will be broken down and reused as fillers during the planting cycle. So I'm just taking quick measurements to make sure how I can plan my wooden box. So once I've got these measurements figured out, and I'm planning to use packing pine as a material. So I managed to make this box that it's not a full box, it's not covered on all four sides because there is wall on one side, and even the base is concrete. So I'm just going to this is a custom made frame that's meant only for this particular space. So let's just do a test fitting, and it seemed to be fitting really well. Now I've managed to make all the other boxes. All of them are made in the same format where I've just framed the three sides and left the base empty. I have more wood for the area around the other garden. So what I'm going to do is, use this area also to kind of use the wood to some extent to create planting depth, which you will see in the as we go along. To start with, I need to give this wood a complete coat of PU coat, which is a polyurethane external grade, and I'm giving two good coats that will take care of the weather. And once the PU coat is done, I'm just going to place them back at the right location. They're thoroughly dry, and now I'm going to start installing a pond liner inside this. So that is going to seal the edges to a large extent, and I'm also going to create some kind of a drain that will drain out excess water, maybe at the 4 or 5 inch height from the bottom. It's very easy to get this pond liner installed, which is why I had that frame on the back of the wood as well. So I'm just using a regular pond liner with a staple gun, carefully fold it and staple them up, and it should really work. I'm also installing the pond liner in the smaller ones, but I will not install it in the other two just to see how this build goes. So I want to try one with pond liner and one without the pond liner to see if there's any major difference in the way the plants are growing. To start off with, I'm going to put the base of the entire pot with cocoa peat. So I'll have one layer of cocoa peat, and then I'm going to be adding cocoa peat with vermicompost as the nutrient mix. And parallelly, I'm just planting a series of plants that are the taller plants go in the back, and some shorter plants come in the front. So just cleverly arranging a few interesting plants, just trying out what we can do with the wood. And this area is going to be the focus area, so I'm going to spend some time over in this area trying to arrange pots and see what really looks good. So I've got this huge pot which is going to be my center feature. So this pot is going to have a tree that is like which I want to use a frangipani tree, which is a really good tree. It's called a temple tree also. So now I'm actually using a pond liner to install the at the base of the entire garden space. Now this pond liner is important because I don't want the nutrients to leach out into the ground very easily. So it's not a completely sealed pond liner from all sides. There are gaps here and there which will just restrict the water to drain out that fast. So now I've got some amount of the pots arranged. I've got all the plants in place. I've got coco peat and a whole lot of vermicompost. So these plants are ready to go into these pots right now. To start off with, I'm again getting the coco peat ready. There's a whole lot of coco peat to be installed. So I'm filling the first layer and giving a thorough mix of coco peat and vermicompost. But before I add vermicompost, I'm going to be first using certain amount of the coco peat in the base. For these pots, I'm also using leca as I'm filling one third of these pots with leca because leca has a tendency of holding a lot of water and that becomes like a reservoir. Now, just topping off most of these pots with coco peat that is mixed with vermicompost. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how I mixed it. Now I've chosen a certain series of plants that are carefully you know planned for each of these locations. Now these plants is very easy to plant. I'm just pulling the plant out of the pot and just placing it on top of the coco peat layer. I'm not digging them down into it because I'll be just placing these pots on top, the plants on top, get my placement correct, and I'm just going to fill coco peat with the vermicompost all around it and just increase the height. They look they look nice and comfortably buried inside. So the central area, the focus area, has got a lot of taller plants, and then this narrow stretch is something that cannot be avoided. So I'm just filling up a series of smaller plants. So if you look at the center, there's a lot of tall plants, and as it goes towards the end, there's a lot of small plants. Using a lot of pebbles here as a feature element. So these pebbles look really interesting, and they kind of give this whole space a nice look. So the opposite side of this also has a little narrow space. Now that looks undone, so we plan to put lawn. So I wanted to create some kind of a landscape, uh, some kind of a mount in the center. So now it's kind of taller, higher in the center, and as it goes towards the edges, it's kind of gradually tapering down. So these grass, you get them in carpet form. Carpet grass is what they're called. It's very easy to put them together, and voila, this is my final build. So I've got the frangipani tree and water bamboo, a whole lot of other flowering plants. Now this becomes the center focus area, and as we go along it's slightly narrower, and on this side finally I've used the center pot with a tulsi plant in it, so that kind of makes this a very basic clean look. And over here under the coconut tree, I removed the wood and I've gone with lawn. And this extreme corner is doing well, and that really looks nice now with all these plants set. And that's the completed build from the other side. So it's very simple to turn your home garden or a small space into a space like this. So this is really, it's just about 4 feet depth at the widest area, and uh, smaller the narrowest area. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys have any suggestions or comments, pop them below and I'll be happy to get back to you. Thank you.